welcome back to a very special edition, episode 412 of the Purple Rain podcast, the one, the only, may he fly high Jacoby Jones edition of the Purple Rain podcast. Thank you for spending your Thursday evening, Friday Eve with me and Son, and a very special guest below us. First off, you can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain podcast. This guy right here on Instagram or on X at Sutton Def. Me, Instagram simply as10.prod, X simply as10. And yes, I'll be remiss if I bring up our very special guest, Super Bowl champion. Yes, Mr. Femi Ayanbadejo. Welcome to the show. How are we feeling? How are we doing? Just thank you for coming through and just spending some time with us. We really appreciate it.
Man, doing good. Excited about the season, excited about the changes and additions. I'm sure we'll get into it, but it's been a long time since we've had a savant as a coordinator. And I mean, no disrespect to Coach Monken. He's a coach's coach. He's probably going to be a better head coach than he was a coordinator. But Declan Doyle, in my opinion, on all the things that I've seen and heard and doing my own data gathering, is truly a savant. Jesse Minter, we had a savant here, Mike McDonald, and obviously he just won a Super Bowl last year, but now we got another savant who's a head coach and a coordinator. So I'm excited to see what these guys do, and I think that people are severely underestimating the force multiplier capability that they're about to drop on this team. It's going to be something amazing as long as we stay healthy.
2 minutes and I'm ready to run through a wall. 2 minutes, man.
No, man, definitely lots to look forward to this season, especially with the new coaching staff and everything like that. I told Alex earlier this offseason, Femi, I said that this is probably one of the most top three, maybe top two, maybe not two, most pivotal moments in the Ravens franchise, right? Because the Ravens aren't known from, going from coach to coach to coach to coach. Like, it's not like a carousel, right? So after John Harbaugh was here for 18 years to finally get a new coach in Jesse Minter and having an entirely new flushed out coaching staff, you're talking about how it's going to be a force multiplier. I'm kind of curious for you to kind of like dig in on that just a little bit more before we hop into these questions here. What exactly about speak to like the value of having like a defensive minded head coach, like what that provides for this Ravens team?
Well, before I do that, let me say this in regard to pivotal moments. I would say I came here with Brian Billick from the Minnesota Vikings. I think that's up there in pivotal moments. I mean, you could say drafting Jonathan Ogden, drafting Ray Lewis, signing Coach Billick, right? And then signing Coach Harbaugh, drafting Lamar Jackson, moving Eric DeCosta to GM from the role of, being underneath Ozzie. And how you order them, look, some things are coaching and front office related and some things are player related. I almost want to separate those things. But I basically want to put a pin in what you said because I agree. Jesse Minter's hiring is in the top 5 or 6 in aggregate of big events in Ravens organizational history. In regard to the force multiplier effect, let me say this. If you go look at the Chargers, if you go look at Michigan when they won the national championship, if you study Jesse Minter's background and pedigree, his dad being a coach, him coaching at multiple universities, being a coordinator at a young age, being a positional coach here, he understands relationships. There's an acronym that I use called the 4 C's, and all leaders know it. They don't know that they know it, but they know it because when you listen to them talk, they display it. They don't have the nomenclature and the definitions that I have because they don't necessarily do guest speaking and keynote speaking for a living. They're coaches, right? So in some way they kind of do, but not the way that I go about and do it. And those 4 C's are, the first one is curiosity. You can't build any relationship. You can't meet a girl. You can't impress your boss or coworker unless you're curious first, right? I think what makes humans who we are is our curiosity first. The second part of the second C is collaboration. Once you meet that person, then you begin to do something together. And as you work through that curiosity and that collaboration, you build a connection. And it kind of has to happen in that order. Curious, collaborate, then connection. Think about it. You can't just have a connection without the other two. And then the 4th C is conflict, right? All good things come with conflict, but you can't lead with conflict. And we got a lot of dumbasses out there that think it's real cool, play stupid games, win stupid prizes type people that want to start with conflict. You're like, bro, you don't even know me. You don't even know me. You want to challenge me. You want to question my pedigree, my background, my intelligence. You just met me yesterday. You just met me a minute ago. And this is with dating too. don't start the date off talking politics. Don't start the date off talking kids. Don't start the date off talking crazy stuff. You know what I mean? Like, but people do this. They jump in the deep end without even like giving the person a chance to put a toe in. Like, let me learn a little bit about you. Let's just keep it simple first, right? And Jesse Minter and Declan Doyle have shown me that they understand the 4 C's innately. Something about the way that they were raised, the way that they interacted with the sport. And once again, these 4 C's are agnostic. These 4 C's are required in every single serious job and every single serious relationship that you have, right? And I believe on a deep level that understanding, you talk about listening to Jesse and Declan talk, they talk about being connected and communicating and building relationships and partnering. Coaches and players today look each other in the eye. When I came up in the league, it was like coach and player. And it wasn't a bad thing. It was just the dynamic. That's the way that it was. Coaches and players now are collaborators. Like the best the best thing about the evolution of football, other than the X's and O's and schematic evolution, is the relationship evolution, the true partnership that players and coaches have. And so when I think of what Jesse does from a schematics perspective, I just got to go look at the Chargers, and I just got to listen and go look at Michigan and listen to the people that I know that know him, and then observing him myself in person. And I see that he checks all the boxes that are required to be great on and off the field as a teacher, but also as a student. He's a student too. There are no great teachers. There's only great students. That's why when you're a martial artist, black belts don't end. You get to a 20th degree black belt because you're a lifelong student.
Learning, yeah.
Exactly. And only people that are offended by that are static learners. They're so consumed with their ability to teach and dictate, they forgot that they were a student first. You know what I mean? So I think Declan and Jesse really understand this. And then when I think about the way that Declan talks ball, when I look at what the Bears did, when I look at Ben Johnson, when I look at Sean Payton and the things that he pulls from those guys and the way that he talks about his system, I just think it's going to be different than anything we've ever done here in Baltimore. And we've had a lot of success here. I'm not saying that in a pejorative sense to look backward and mock or talk negatively. It's just that all good things must come to an end, and we're at the precipice of a new beginning. And I think these guys, these young guys, and this young staff, and this amalgamation of folks some of them didn't even know each other. Jesse wasn't afraid of that. He said, "You got something I need. Come on over. Let's go do this in Baltimore." And they're going to build and add to the culture, not change it, not deviate from it. They're going to build on top of it. And to me, that's fucking exciting.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Did I answer your question, Seth? Did I get you?
Absolutely.
What a way to start.
What a way to start,
Love
for sure. And you made a really good point about that connection and players and coaches seeing eye to eye, because like you mentioned, back in the day, it was more so like coaches are up here and then players are the subordinates, right? But now that people are seeing more eye to eye, I mean, Zay Flowers even said it himself. Alex, I don't know if you saw the presser the other day where Zay Flowers was basically saying like, yeah, me and Coach Declan, we talk to each other like friends. That's how we communicate. And I thought that was so important, you know what I mean? Because like that just builds like trust. It's part of like the 4 C's you're talking about, like the collaboration, the communication, like it all kind of weaves in together. I love all of that. But Alex, I want to let you go ahead and start with the first question. So Mr. Femi can answer.
I want to add on real quick to what you said. You brought up the coaching, and it's a whole episode we had was talking about the coaching decisions that Jesse Minter made and the curiosity. I mean, I just pulled up our roster. You get a guy like Dwayne Ledford and that Falcons O-line last year, which was very good. You go and get Eddie Faulkner. You snatch him from your biggest rival, the Steelers. Unreal. And then you go and get Joe Lombardi as your senior offensive assistant coach. So it's like, yeah, we have a little bit of just, I guess, younger guys, but we have some vets on here who have won it all. So you just kind of all just wrapped around for me. Thank you. But going on to the questions first. And it's kind of going on to what you said about Declan Doyle. I saw a tweet you put out recently. You mentioned that Zay Flowers, like what you're projecting, 1,400 yards, 8 touchdowns. And I think a gripe with a good amount of Ravens fans, and I understand, he doesn't get in the end zone enough. So how do you feel Declan Doyle can unlock? I think, to me, that's his last thing. He really needs to, I think, go to above average, get in the back of the end zone.
I think he's he's a victim of the Josh Allen kind of situation where Josh Allen has a bunch of rushing touchdowns, but they're like 1 yard. And look, I'm not trying to disparage Josh Allen, but those touchdowns go to Derrick Henry in our offense. You know what I mean? So Zay is a between the 20s guy. I call him a 5-level player, and I'll explain what I mean by that. Behind the line of scrimmage, if you need to take a jet sweep or anything like that, Zay can do it. If you need him to take a 1-yard drag across the field, if you need him to run slants, pivots, he can do all that. If you need him to run a deep dig, he can do that. If you need him to run a go route, he can do that. And then he can do street ball. Not very many receivers can do all 5 things. So Zay is not the archetype physically. He's not the prototype that you dream of, but he does all the other things. And I think that Ravens fans, they depreciate Zay because he's not 6'2", 230. You know what I mean? And they don't appreciate all the dirty work that he does. And football is the consummate team sport. The offensive line blocks, the receiver runs the route, the quarterback does the drop, he throws the ball, the receiver catches it, the other receivers and the running backs block, and then someone else gets in the end zone. But all 11 guys had a role, but one person gets credit for the touchdown. So I'm not overly concerned about Zay getting more touchdowns. I just need Zay to keep doing Zay-type things because somebody else is going to be the beneficiary. It could be Jacoby Lane. It could be Elijah Surratt. It could be you name all the receivers. I mean, it could be Hibner. It could be Cuevas, right? It could be anybody. It could be Derrick Henry. It could be Lamar Jackson. I think we need to not be limited or just box score watch and just look at the outcome, but we need to look at how we got into the end zone. And Zay is a massive producer between the 20s. I do think, and once again, this can't just be a Glaze Zay show, right? I got to be honest, right? Zay is not 6'2", 6'3", right? He's not Isaiah Likely. But I think that his ability to do a lot of the dirty work, and I mean kind of these short catches, carries, Z-sweeps type stuff, other people benefit from that. And there's things that Zay can do that other guys can't, right? So as long as the Ravens have a top 5, and in my opinion, top 3 scoring offense, top 3 rushing offense, top 10 passing offense, and all the numbers check out, top 5 in red zone scoring, top 3 in third down conversion, Zay is going to have parts in that. So I project a higher touchdown output because he had 5 touchdowns last year and Lamar missed a bunch of games. The offensive line was not very good. And he was targeted and covered, double covered, because he was the only person out there really consistently available. So I expect this offense to unlock everybody. I assume and project Rashad Bateman to have a much better season, more like 2024 than 2025. He should be healthy. Lamar should be healthy. The O-line should improve. So although I do predict an uptick in Zay's production, the touchdowns themselves, I'm not overly infatuated with, because as long as he keeps doing Zay-type things, other people will eat. So is that cool? I hope that makes sense.
No, it does.
In regard to outcomes. Yeah.
It's like a 2-pronged question as well, because I kind of want to ask you, like, who do you think benefits the most? You mentioned Rashad Bateman, and just to be clear, me and Sutton right here are probably the leaders of Rashad Bateman FC. We are huge fans
of
his.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So we've been taking a lot of bullets. Sutton here has a list of all the Bateman haters. It's kind of like a fun
everywhere.
little, Yeah, exactly.
And
yeah. And listen, every right, you get a 3-year, $30-some million contract. You put up 200-some yards. Like Puka Nacua had better stats in one game last year than Bateman did all year. Do you think he could be the most improved upcoming in this Declan Doyle offense, or maybe he's one of the new tight ends, receivers, or maybe it's a lineman as well? I don't know, but who do you think is going to benefit the most out of this offense?
I mean, as long as Rashad's healthy, I think he's going to play really well. And let me once again be balanced in this analysis, right? Like I pride myself on my analyst skills. So everything that everyone feels about Rashad is right. What we feel about him is right, and what fans feel about him is right. He is kind of what's the word? He has a high ceiling and a low floor, and his play shows that. You look at 2025 and you look at 2024, and you're like, what? Man, 2024, like 40-something receptions, 700 yards, 9 touchdowns. I mean, 16 points. By the way, I don't have the data in front of me, but I think that's right. 16 point something a catch. And then you look at this year, and you're like, man, where was he? What happened? You know what I mean? So all that range and variance on opinions and energy makes sense to me, because that's what his career has been. I just have the ability in real time to acknowledge both and be okay acknowledging both. For me, it's not binary. It's very nuanced, and I recognize that he could be that player again that he was in 2024, or we could get more of what happened in 2025. I'm actually not certain. So when people kind of hate or kind of throw cold water on Rashad, I understand why. So they're not wrong. But I also remember what he did 2 years ago, and I live in the middle. I'm just here to see where it goes, and somebody's going to be right. You know what I mean? Yeah. Hopefully it's us. Hopefully, our belief in him will matriculate to a good product on the field for him.
Yeah, he's definitely a little bit of a tweener in that regard on the roster.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And that's why a lot of people are talking about, hey, why is he not at OTAs? Why is he not showing up yet? But,
yeah.
the Ravens
I
already came
mean,
out and said that he's dealing with some
yeah.
personal things. So,
Well, you know
he's
what it
gonna,
is. He just had a baby. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Just had a
yeah,
newborn. And look, it's I never, as a former player, it is my mission to make sure that players are not reduced down to entertainment and trophies.
yes.
Like we change diapers, we pick up dog shit. Like we do all the things that other people do. We wash our cars, we cook food, we grill, right? We have some beers, right? We do all the stuff that everybody else does. And I think as fans, sometimes we just see players as entertainment, and they're not human, right? They're this two-dimensional thing that we're extremely invested in emotionally, and we don't give grace on the other things that they do that are the same things that we do, right? It's really like, yes, they have an awesome job and they've earned it, but when they're not doing that job, they're doing the same stuff that everyone else does. And so
Yeah.
I try to make sure that people don't forget that.
Yeah, it's kind of speaks to what you were talking about earlier when you have like trolls online and stuff like that. Because I feel like
Oh,
it's a similar thing. Like when people only see you through
yeah,
the screen, they don't see you as human. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So they'll treat you as such. And like it sucks that that's kind of like how this goes. But you're absolutely right. I mean, I think Rashad Bateman deserves all the grace. Again, as Bateman FC, Bateman Truthers up here, we believe in Bateman. But you did talk about like what happened from that 2024 to the 2025 season. I think what happened was just his target share just went way down. It plummeted. He was getting a little over 4 targets per game in 2024, and that dropped all the way down to around 2.5 in 2025. So it's like he just wasn't really getting the opportunity. Some people say that he was giving up on routes, and that's why he wasn't getting the targets and things like that. But what receiver do you know that doesn't need to get in a rhythm in order to be consistent and to be good? So I'm just hoping that this year Declan Doyle can devise some sort of plan to get Rashad Bateman or revitalize Rashad Bateman, because at the end of the day, here's the deal. He's a former first round pick, right? Who we're still getting for fairly cheap. And Alex told me this right before we went live. People act like Rashad Bateman is on a $50 million per year deal. He's
oh, he's
not.
cheap. He's so
He's cheap.
cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
he's
so
great
cheap.
value right now, and we've
Yeah,
seen what he can do. He had 9 touchdowns in 2024, 11 if you're including the postseason. I think that he has a lot left in the tank, man, and a lot left to prove. So I cannot wait to see what he has going on this season. Real quick, by the way, we do have a super chat donation. This one's coming from Mad Rasta. He says, "Salute Femi. Have y'all talked about replacing Bateman yet? We just did. So shout out to you, Mad Rasta, for dropping the 5-piece in the chat. Also, we had some gifted memberships. This one coming from 86 Ghost. Thank you so much for gifting the membership in the chat. And we also had another 86 Ghost gifted membership, and those go out to Ash Marie and Gara Bears 5235. So shout out to 86 Ghosts being Santa Claus here on this episode of PRP. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel as well. And again, we are joined by former Raven and Super Bowl champion Femi Ayanbadejo, and we appreciate him for coming through. Let's go ahead and move right along here. So the question that I had for you, actually one of my questions was about the wide receiver room, and I guess we can kind
yeah,
of touch on the rookies and things like that a little bit later in the show. But one of the things I wanted to ask you here now was the fullback position, right?
yeah.
I know you've had some experience at this position, right, in your career, and I wanted to ask you, like, since the position has kind of died off, like, why do you think that's happened, and do you think that it would be beneficial for it to come back? Because some of the last, I guess you could say, utilizers of the fullbacks were, guys like John Harbaugh, guys like Bill Belichick. What can you say about the fullback position and speak to like the history of it and how can it come back, maybe?
Yeah, so I wasn't a traditional fullback. Obviously, I played tailback on third down, was in a single back a lot. I played fullback. I was a tight end in college. I was a running back in high school. So I understand just being in the backfield. And, Pat was a 300-pound, like true blocking fullback, right?
Yeah.
I just think that when you just do that one thing really well, this is one of my, not a knock, but more of an evolution of this offense. We had this belief that what we're going to do and we dare you to stop it. We're not going to do that anymore. You know what I mean? We're going to line up and we're going to go 13 and 12 personnel, and it's all going to look like run and play action, and then we're going to throw a pass, and you have no idea what we're going to do. I think that's a massive advantage that we've never taken advantage of. So if you want to put a fullback back there and basically say, we're going to run ISO, we're going to run lead, we're going to run power with a fullback, and you know what we're going to do, and we're going to dare you to stop us. Okay. I don't know how smart that is in 2026. And I think in some way, Declan's basically saying, like, look, if it's short yardage and we need a fullback, we'll just throw one of the tight ends back there. It could be Cuevas, it could be Smythe. I understand the reduction of the fullback position. Even when I played fullback, I wasn't a traditional fullback. I ran screens, I ran routes. I pass pro'd. Jamal would go out on third down, and I would be in there. Not me, not Priest, not Jamal. It would be me sometimes. I had my own little package that I would run. You know what I mean? So I think you need to be multiple with all players and all personnel packages, because anything less is just an advantage for the defense. So if teams want to keep a fullback because they're that confident, God bless them. I tip my cap. But I'm okay with the phasing out of the fullback, unless you're going to use the fullback the way the 49ers do with Kyle Juszczyk or something like that, where, yeah, he's a fullback, but he's really a running back in the backfield and the tight end, kind of all rolled into one. He doesn't tip his hand when Kyle's in there. Former Raven, tip of the cap, right? We already know. So, if you want to use a fullback like Kyle Juszczyk, awesome, but there's not too many of him. Yeah, I'm cool with it being phased out. I know. I wish I had more to say about it, but I'm actually really good with it. I'm actually really good with it.
That actually surprises me.
Yeah.
Really quick, we do have another super chat donation. This one's coming from Jeremy Early. Thank you so much, brother, for making it rain here on this episode 412 of the Purple Rain podcast. Jeremy says, I think Tez and the fourth rounder we got are going to be better than Bate. So I guess we can kind of round out the wide receiver talk with this, right? So we can get into like the rookies and stuff like that. So Tez Walker, Femi, speak to what you think about Tez Walker, and then also the rookies. I mean, Lane and Surratt look very, very promising. They look very complimentary to Zay Flowers, might I add. What are your thoughts on all those guys? Yeah,
like right now, when I draw up my 11 personnel, right, my three wides package.
Yeah.
I think that it's going to start with Zay, Tez, and Bate, right? I think that's going to be the starting group. But they're going to have variants of three wides, and they're going to have a Jacoby Lane package, and they're going to have an Elijah Surratt package as well. So for those of you that are into Avengers and all that stuff, right? You have all these variants, right? All these different universes and stuff. Yeah. I think that we're going to be multiple in some of these personnel groupings. And at some point, the cream will rise to the top, and eventually we'll hone in on one three wides package. They'll probably still have some variants of it with different guys, and it'll still be three wides. But I think the starting group is going to be Zay, Tez, and Bate, because when I listen to the coaches talk, I've listened to, first of all, Eric DaCosta came on to my show that I do with Bruce Cunningham on 105.7 The Fan Baltimore every Saturday from 12 to 3 for those of you. It's on YouTube as well. 105.7 The Fan.
Is due to the changes in athletes.
Looks like we got another super chat
Guys
donation.
from QBs to linemen are
it's all
getting
good.
better and quicker, and the power run schemes with fullbacks lose value when faced with that player type.
All right, we'll get to the super chat donation in just a second. Void, appreciate you so much for dropping the 20 in the chat, but go ahead and finish up for me.
Yeah. So I think it'll start with Zay, Tez, and Bate, but then it could morph into Elijah being in there. There's going to be a package for Jacoby in the red zone that I assume. But based on my discussions and listening to coaches and listening to Eric, I think they're really high on Tez. And I also think they're still high on Bate, because if they weren't high on Bate, they would have brought a veteran in by now already. You know what I mean? And they haven't. It doesn't mean that they won't, but they haven't yet. The same way that I think they're high on Zion because they haven't brought Jadeveon in. You know what I mean? So, I think right now my starting group is Zay, Tez, and Bate, and then the rest is TBD.
Fair. Very, very fair. Super chat donation from Void. Appreciate you for sending the 20, making it rain here on this episode of the Purple Rain podcast. Says, I believe the death of the fullback position is due to the changes in athletes. Guys from quarterbacks to linemen are getting leaner and quicker, and the power run schemes with fullbacks lose value when faced with that player type.
Yeah, I think that's that's another part of it. I definitely think that players are more athletic. Like, you're getting bigger, faster, stronger players that are leaner bodies because of nutrition, supplementation, recovery. Like, if you just look at the build on athletes now, like you can get the same guy that's 6'3", 240, 235, that was 6'2" or 6'3", 245, and they look totally different now. Like, this dude over here is 8% body fat. That dude was 13% body fat. Still healthy, still fit, but this dude over here looks like he's been training his whole life for something. This dude over here looks like he figured it out in college. You know what I mean? That's what we're getting. That's where we're at now. Like, that's the evolution of the athlete: bigger, faster, stronger. And the guys, they're bigger, but they're actually smaller waisted, bigger shoulders, leaner, more ripped, right? So they're more efficient. And so the fullback position, not just based on what the super chat person sent in, but also like the predictability part to me is the bigger issue. The size thing is always a thing, but it's the predictability. Why tip your cap? I'm sorry. Why tip your cards, cards? Why tip your cards at all? Like, why make it so easy for people to understand what you're going to do? I think that's the bigger issue, not so much. Yeah, all the positions and all the players have evolved for sure, but I think the predictability is a bigger mix or portion of the mix than the adaptation of the athlete, in my opinion. Anyway, but they both go together.
Interesting. It's interesting you said that. So, like, do you also think that with that, does that mean in a way that physicality is less of a factor nowadays? Or
No,
we're kind of
physicality is the game is safer because of the rules, but athletes have never run faster into each other than they do today. Like, just go watch a game from the 1970s and go look at those dudes. Look at how they, like, yes, it's a more violent game, but like, I don't watch the game for violence. I watch the game for skill. And for people that are into the violence, they can go watch the UFC. And I'm a UFC fan too, right? But like, I want to see acrobatic, big, fast dudes do crazy athletic stuff with the ball in their hand. I'm not there to see a dude get knocked out. I'm not there to see a dude get his helmet knocked off and his face busted, can't remember his kid's name in 10 years. Like, fuck that. I'm not there for that. And anybody that wants to, like, put that up there as like, oh, it's a gladiator sport and that's what's important. No, that's not what's important. If you can't remember your kid's name or your own name when you turn 60 and you don't live a full, healthy life, what are we doing? Yes, there are some risks that come with football. I accept that. But we should make the game as safe as possible, but also make sure it's as entertaining as possible. And I think we have the best version of the NFL right now. And I'll debate anybody about that. Go watch those games from the 70s when you knew exactly what was coming. 3 yards in a cloud of dust, a fullback, tight end was 6'6", 290, another blocker, didn't catch passes, didn't run routes. That game was awesome. We built this game on top of it, but the game has never been more entertaining. The athletes have never been better than they are today, and that includes better than the athletes that I played with when I played. Yes, I put myself in that older bucket. It's okay. I'm okay with it. It's not my ego. Yeah, my ego has nothing to do with it. You know what I'm saying? I checked my ego at the door a long time ago. And football will make you check your ego. I promise you.
For sure.
Love that.
Was I firm enough about that? Was I clear?
Most deaf. That's why you guys can see the title of the video. Super Bowl champion Femi Ayanbadejo tells the truth. Yeah, I just I get so pissed off when people talk about the violence part of it. I'm like, yeah, there's some violence, but that's not what the game is about, man. Like, if that's what you're watching it for, you're watching it for the wrong reasons. Like, are you out there to watch Lamar get his head knocked off, or are you out there to watch Lamar take it or go at 80? Like, you know what I'm saying? What's more important? Now, I'm sure the other people from the other teams want to see him get his head knocked off. I get that part. But imagine your QB. Are you there to see your QB be at risk, or you see your QB, do some Steph Curry type shit and dole it out and dish it out and feed people, right? I mean, that's what we want. I want to see other quarterbacks from other teams be healthy as well too. Now, I don't want them to beat us, but I don't want them to get hurt either. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and like when I was saying like the physicality, I wasn't necessarily talking about like the violence aspect.
Oh no, I took it there. Yeah, for sure.
Well, yeah, but like I just wanted to kind of clarify really quick, like like physicality in terms of, because you were talking about. Yeah, why tip your cards and just put a fullback on the field, because that's going to be very telling. And I'm saying like, okay, well, yeah, moving more to like a sleight of hand type of offense where you got to keep the defense guessing, things like that. But then I was talking about, well, the physicality, because I know like it's a war of attrition, the game of football, right? And like if you can on any given Sunday go out there and find out that you are more physical than the opposition, then you can just keep kind of going to that and just kind of lean on teams, And I still expect the Ravens to do that definitely this year, with Derrick Henry getting downhill and stuff like that, especially with leads in the second half. So, no, but I definitely love your answer. Alex, I'm going to give you your opportunity. What's your second question?
Yeah, I mean, going back to the whole physicality thing, and so tying to the rookies, like when we see Derrick Henry on the field, it's a short yardage situation. You talk about tipping the cap, most likely a run, correct? Now you have Adam Randall in here, a former wide receiver. I'm just going to get into this. Arguably, I think for Ravens fans, really one of the rookies we're looking to see in the preseason. Who is your rookie? It could be, drafted, undrafted, but we have such a plethora and different skill set of guys. Like for me, Jacoby Lane, everything about him, the flashy catches, I know it's an old word, but the swag, I guess, he brings on the field.
Yeah.
You love that in your receiver. And you have Adam Randall who can do, catch out the backfield, can run it. You have, come on now, first round could be that generational guy.
There's so many choices.
Exactly, So I mean, if you had to pick one guy, I guess, in the preseason, when you're turning on,
man,
who is it?
That's so hard. So I projected Jacoby Lane. You guys can go look at my timeline. Now, I'm not sure how close to the draft I posted it, but before he was drafted, I was like, the Ravens need to draft Jacoby Lane. So he was a kid that I fell in love with early because I'm a Makai Lemon fan. I thought that Lemon was the now, I'm not saying he was the best receiver in the draft, but he was the best receiver to me in the draft. Like, I love the way that he played. He's a dog. I think Philly got a real one. You know what I mean? And when I was watching Lemon, I saw Jacoby Lane. I was like, oh, shit, who's this kid? Damn. Like, he's kind of flying under the radar. I go, we need to get him because he's got that X receiver capability. He can replace Isaiah Likely more as a receiver than a tight end, even though Isaiah's just a big receiver, right? So I just saw like the 6'4.5", the 6'8" wingspan, the 4.47 speed. I was like, yeah, we need Jacoby Lane. So because I've been glazing Jacoby for months, I'm not going to say him. So let me just set him to the side because that would be too obvious, right?
Yes.
And I can't go with Vanga because I already know he's going to just be just destruction. I already know that, right? I'm tempted to choose Elijah, but I'm actually going to go with Matthew Hibner. And let me tell you why. I'm going to go with Hibner because I'd never, in full transparency, he was not on my bingo card. So once they drafted him, I had to go look and I had to go really do some analysis. His RAS score is top 10% in tight end history. History. That's how good his combine was. Then I went and looked at the tape. Bro, this dude is 6'3", 6'4", 257, runs 4.52. You know what I mean? Like catching passes, running dudes over. He's a good blocker. I think that the combination of, and by the way, I think Mark Andrews is going to have a Pro Bowl type year. I really believe that. The way you guys feel about Bate is how I feel about Andrews. I feel like Mark has gotten the short end of the stick. I feel like fans got a real short memory. They only remember the last thing you did, and usually not the last good thing you did. It's usually the last bad thing that you did. I understand in big games that we want more from him, but his numbers are going to be up in the rafters. He has every receiving record in Ravens history. Mark Andrews is a dog, and he's a great human being, by the way. So him and Matt Hibner together, bro, I think that's going to be devastating. I think that we're going to have a true advantage, run-pass advantage, because of what these guys can do. And so Hibner is going to be the guy that I'm going to be looking out for. And just right behind Hibner, and by the way, I also projected Zion Young. You can go look at the receipts. I projected Zion Young to the Ravens too. My comp for Zion was Jadeveon Clowney. Strong hands, good read-react guy. Definitely has a good pass rush. It's probably a better run stuffer than pass rusher, but can do both really, really well. A lot of speed, and is a dog. Is just a flat dog. So because I'm an offensive guy, I got to give my offense 51-49. I'm going to go with Hibner, and then Zion Young is my second dude.
Yeah.
Love it.
I mean,
yeah.
Hibner was definitely on my radar for sure, but I've heard a lot of good news about Cuevas and OTA so far.
I have too. So,
Yes.
Definitely. Yeah.
I'm definitely excited for both of those guys. But you did mention Mark Andrews, and I think it is important to kind of point out, a lot of fans have been down on Mark Andrews. Admittedly, we have too right here on this channel. But I will say that he is still Lamar Jackson's number one tight end target. Even when Isaiah Likely was here, Mark Andrews was still getting more targets than Isaiah Likely. And now that Likely is gone and you have two rookies, I think that means he's going to lean on Mark Andrews even more. And Mark Andrews is going to be leading by example for those two young guys. So you can definitely expect on a lot of, like play action crossers and things like that. Just the classic Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews connection. You're going to see a lot of that in this Declan Doyle offense.
Yeah, for sure.
I cannot wait.
And I think Bate and Mark are going to probably be two of the biggest beneficiaries of this Declan Doyle offense. You know what I mean? And I also hope that both are healthy, because I think that there's an injury part to this that people don't acknowledge. They just kind of throw them under the bus, but don't recognize like some of the stuff. Like Mark had the car accident, and once again, that doesn't do with Buffalo in the playoff game. I understand that, but my point is that he dealt with some things in parts of seasons, the same thing that Bate had to deal with. And so one thing that I want to touch on that you mentioned that I thought was insightful on your part, the target part of Bates' reduction had everything to do with Lamar Jackson being under pressure in the offensive line. The Ravens were in the top 5 of advanced pass blocking and run blocking metrics in 2024. They were in the bottom 5 in advanced run blocking and pass protection metrics in 2025. So 2024, they're top 5 in the league. 2025, they're bottom 5 in the league. That changes everything. The only two players that actually played well was Zay and Derrick Henry. And they both had issues with ball security, in my opinion. And those things had big effects on the outcomes of games. Now, once again, I got to tell the truth when I talk about stuff. I can't just sit here and once again just be all positive and purple lenses with my purple drink, right? Ball security matters, and we were at the top of the league in 2019 when we lost the divisional round to Tennessee. We were at the top of the league in 2023 when we lost in the AFC Championship game. We were near the top of the league in 2024. And so we need to get back to that. And so I think Zay and Derrick are going to, Derrick hasn't had issues with ball security, but he had his issues at the worst times last year, obviously. But Derrick Henry's going to the Hall of Fame. Let's be real, right?
Yep.
He's probably going to end up third in all-time rushing when it's all said and done, in my opinion. When I do all the metrics and stuff, I think he's going to end up third. I see him having 2 more big years, and then I'm hoping Adam Randall comes in and fills that role because he's got all the tools and all the skills to be a 3-down back.
Yeah. You bring up the turnovers real quick. A -3 turnover differential last year for the Ravens. Yeah. Just unheard of. Usually it's the defense getting all those takeaways. This didn't happen at all. I think a couple of games we were like -4, -5 turnover. It was bad. It was real bad.
Yeah, you can't win games. Usually when you end up negative in the differential category, you typically lose. Considering how bad it was, I mean, to be 8-9 and actually have a chance to go 9-8, you know what I'm saying? Like, and actually make the playoffs. We won't get into that. I don't mean to bring up old shit, but you know what I'm saying.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on to this here. So I wanted to ask you, there's a lot of hype surrounding this Ravens team, but when we break it down between offense and defense, there's a lot of hype for both units. I mean, defense, you've got a defensive-minded head coach, a young whiz kid, Jesse Minter. I don't want to call him a kid. He's not a kid. He's a grown man. But you get what I mean. And he's a younger guy. And then you also have Anthony Weaver, who's had experience in Baltimore before. And then you've got a lot of all-pros, Pro Bowlers on that defense. You mentioned young guys like Zion Young, who we expect to have a really good rookie year. I mean, me personally, I won't speak for anybody else, but and then you also have the offense, who is always going to be competitive with Lamar Jackson. And they have Derrick Henry and Zay Flowers, who we expect to take a step forward. Who do you think, between the offense and the defense, which unit is most likely to finish as a top 3 unit in the NFL?
Man, I think they're both going to be top 3. I mean, definitely top 5. Yeah, definitely top 5, both. I mean, I just feel like anything less is a failure, in my opinion. Like, okay, let me not be too hyperbolic. Okay, let me step back and check myself because I'm getting lost in the sauce. Woosah, chill out, bro, chill out.
Love it.
Look, you could be a top 10 offense and top 10 defense and win championships for sure. Like being top 10 is great. I just feel like with the talent and with the coaches, they have the potential to be like elite on both sides of the ball, and that's not hyperbole. Like I genuinely mean this. When I look at the players on both sides of the ball, when I look at Trey Hendrickson coming in, when I look at hopefully Nnamdi Madubuike coming back, I look at Calais Campbell coming in, right? I just feel like everything is here. And I think about Mike McDonald's defense, and Jesse runs a similar style defense to Mike. And I just remember all those records. I mean, what was it? We led the league in sacks, points, and turnovers, right?
Yeah.
And like that's never been done before, and that was all under Mike McDonald, and it was happening right in front of us, and we almost didn't know it. Remember that beautiful night when we went to San Francisco, and everybody thought we were going to get our ass beat, and
Yep.
Mike Flores.
Mike Flores, Mike Florio running his mouth about all the things Anyway, I love it when I can talk shit to Mike Florio, but my point is though is that. I love when people underestimate us, and I feel like that's happening again. And we're at our best when we're underdogs. Like, put us outside the top 10. Like, question Lamar and how good he's going to be. Like, I love it. Do all that stuff because we're at our best when you don't see us coming. And so I kind of feel like that being said, I think with the coaching staff and the players, and let me give Weave his flowers too. Like, he's a born and bred Raven. He was drafted here. He played here. He coached here. He went to and was a coordinator in Miami with Mike McDaniel. Now he comes back again as a coordinator. He's going to be a head coach. Declan Doyle's probably going to be a head coach, right? So we got to enjoy the guys that we have while we have them, including the staff. So with that being said, me personally, like when I'm talking to myself, and I'm writing down like where do they rank amongst the league's best. Let me say this: they're both going to. I genuinely believe they're both going to be top 5. I'll say that. That's a little bit less aggressive than top 3.
But it's fair to say though. It's fair to say because I mean,
Yeah.
you made a really really good point when the Ravens are best when the league doesn't see us coming. You go back to that first year Lamar Jackson starting with Greg Roman, MVP.
Yep.
The first year Todd Monken with Lamar Jackson, MVP. You know what I mean? So it's like the rest of the league, they really don't know what's coming yet. They haven't seen it on film, and it's going to take some time for them to kind of catch up to what the Ravens are doing. So that's why I'm super excited. I cannot wait. We're only in June, man. We got a couple more months until football starts, man. I'm feeding into some football.
Yeah.
But Alex, I know you got another question for us, don't you?
I don't want to throw it back. I'm going to age myself, but it's fine. You brought up the Ravens being the underdogs, and nobody can talk about that more than you. Because nobody gave you guys a chance in Tennessee in 2000. Hell, they stole the playbook. Oh my gosh, I've watched that Hard Knocks about 15 times. I think there was like, when I first could watch something, my parents sat me in front, Hard Knocks 2000, you're watching it. And like that just kind of, since then watching is like the Ravens as underdogs are the best. 2012, weren't given a chance. Okay, you beat Andrew Luck, cool. Go beat Peyton Manning, all right? Go beat Tom Brady. The same Broncos just blew you out a couple weeks ago. So now 2025, 2026 is like, well, Lamar, the contracts are going down. Are they a good team? We don't know. They're chokers. Roll us out. I love it. But my final question, you kind of touched on it already. If you had the chance to sign one veteran free agent, what position? I knew we talked about receiver, talked about edge, but with the Zion Young thing, there's Devion. Don't think we're going to get a receiver. Where would you sign him? I mean, DB is always a question mark. Could always do stuff there.
So I think for me, man, I feel like I have like a free ticket. You know what I mean? Like I feel pretty good about where we are. Part of me thought like an off-ball linebacker, but then I started thinking like, nah, this Trent Simpson's time. He's about to ball out. We're good. Teddy's going to be fine, and we're going to be in nickel. Like nickel defense is going to be our starting defense because of Kyle. Like Kyle's going to be a big nickel, so we're going to be in nickel or dime 80% of the time. In regular defense with like 3 linebackers on the field, like 3 traditional linebackers, that's going to be 20% of the time. So I scratched that out. Then I started thinking about another rush guy, and you already know who I want.
Yes, sir.
I want Jadeveon Clowney.
Yes,
I want Jadeveon Clowney, right? And then I started thinking about receiver potentially, but man, I believe in these young guys, man. Like I just do. I just believe in these young guys. I feel like if they just roll with this room, I think they're going to be solid. You know what I mean? So because of that, there's definitely some dudes out there that like Keenan Allen could be nice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because he knows Jesse. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And I kind of feel like he could be a good guy to have around, but let's assume that the receivers stay healthy. I think and I asked Eric about this in an interview I did with him. I still think for me it's Jadeveon. I just think he's the cherry on top. If anything goes wrong, you got him. You can kick him down into a nose tackle position. I'm sorry, or a defensive tackle position, not a nose tackle, even though you can probably do it. But you can kick him down to D tackle if you need him. We can put together a third down kind of NASCAR package like the Giants used to do. Imagine if you had like Nnamdi, Trey, Jadeveon, and Zion Young. And Mike Green too. I mean, damn, like think about that. Think about that that's crazy, right? Like,
and Calais Campbell just came off the field.
I was gonna say, like there's probably a package where you could go big. You can go just a big package where you have like Calais, Nnamdi, Travis, and Trey Hendrickson. You know what I'm saying? Like, can you imagine that? Like, yeah. Did I say? I hope I didn't say Trey Hendrickson twice, but you guys know what I'm going with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So anyway, I said Travis. So we don't even talk about him. Shit, he's a hell of a player. We don't even talk about him.
One of the most underrated.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I'm so happy we're able to re-sign him for some reasonable dollars. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man. Yep.
Listen, guys, we have over 180 people watching this episode 412 of the Purple Rain Podcast live. Thank you guys so much for coming through to this episode as we are joined by former Raven and again Super Bowl champion Femi Ayanbadejo. We thank him so much for coming through. Be sure to leave a like on this video. And if you are new, please consider subscribing as well and joining our membership. You guys know there's a lot of perks that come with the memberships here at the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. So if you're considering supporting the channel, that is a great way to do so. You mentioned the Giants, Femi. I want to ask you,
Yeah.
you know, with John Harbaugh over there now, what do you make of them? What do you think their ceiling is this year?
Playoff team. Playoff team.
You think so?
If Jackson Dart doesn't blow up the damn locker room first, you know what I'm saying? You know,
Man.
yeah. I mean, this is the thing, right, guys? I'm not trying to say anybody. I'm not trying to gaslight anybody, but when one person does something, it reflects on the whole team. So it's kind of like, you know, when your family. If I'm gonna do something crazy, I got to make sure my mom and my sister and my brother and my kids are cool with it. Because what he did was crazy. It really was. I mean, I'm just sorry. I don't. If you're offended, you're offended. I don't give a fuck. But my point is that, like, yeah, well, no, what we all do affects each other, and it goes both ways, regardless of how you feel about it. Like, you got to be thoughtful about that. What you do in your private time, privately, completely your business. But this wasn't a private time. This was something else, right? So, what I think John brings to the table is that he's the ultimate kind of culture builder. And I'm wondering what Jackson said, if he said anything to anybody or talked to anybody about it before he did this. And I'm genuinely saying this, all jokes aside. I do think that there are certain decisions that we have to make as a team. And I think John can help them do that. Dude, if Malik Neighbors is healthy, you know, Jackson is a heck of a quarterback, man. He really is. He's got a heck of an arm, excellent touch. They got a crazy defense. I think they got a lot of pieces. They've got an offense and a defense,
Isaiah
in my
Likely.
opinion. They got Isaiah Likely, right? Yeah.
Pat
So
Ricard.
Pat Ricard, yeah. The Ravens
Ardarius.
Ravens North. You know.
Yeah.
So Ravens, yeah. NFC. I guess the NFC North is they're not in that, but you know what I'm saying. They're in the East,
Yeah.
right? But I guess Ravens Northeast, right? We'll call it that.
Yes.
But I just think that John is just a heck of a human being, and I know that a lot of people kind of I thought he was treated kind of rudely on the way out. I just don't think it was necessary. You know what I'm saying? You guys remember my brother was on the 2012 Super Bowl team, my brother Brendan.
Yes.
And John and him had a good relationship, but they also had things they disagreed with. You know what I mean? But John let my brother do his thing. When my brother wanted to promote gay marriage in Maryland and across the nation with President Obama, John said it was okay, and my brother went and did that. He worked with President Obama and Michelle Obama and did that. A lot of people don't remember that now because it was so long ago, but my brother put his neck out there for something that he believed in. But he also I wouldn't say got permission, but it was a known thing that he was going to do this. And I'll tell you right now, not everybody agreed with what he did. Right now, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but at that time, it was a big deal. And so I kind of lived through this a little bit in my own way, and a lot of people don't realize that. And so I just think that John is one of the coolest things about John, and one of the best things he did for Lamar is he let Lamar be Lamar. I don't know how many head coaches would let Lamar just be who he is and see this kid from South Florida that is not the prototypical quarterback in the way he carries himself. Lamar is an introvert. Lamar has a tight-knit circle. He doesn't have an agent, doesn't want one. He has a very few people that he trusts. And I'm here for it. Like I'm good with that. I think Lamar, the evolution of Lamar wasn't that Coach Harbaugh pushed it. He just let it happen. Sometimes the best decision you make is what you don't do, right? Not overdoing it, right? And so I think John is going to go to New York and apply some of those things that allowed him to win a Super Bowl here and allow the Ravens to have a bunch of records, right? Obviously, we didn't win a Super Bowl in the Lamar era. We probably should have won at least one, at least been to two probably. But I think John can do that for the Giants.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean,
I just covered a whole lot of stuff right there.
Yeah.
No, for sure. He can definitely be a culture setter for sure. I mean, and like
Yeah.
you mentioned, they do have the pieces. I think Jackson Dart is low key kind of like a baby Josh Allen in a way, where he's fearless. He'll take off, but like he can roll out of the pocket and make the throws too. You know, so
Yeah.
we'll see how they develop this year as he gets his wide receiver one, Malik Neighbors, back. He's getting a
Yeah.
really, really good security blanket tight end, and Isaiah Likely, a great upfront blocker, extra blocker, and Pat Ricard. So we'll see how they do in that NFC East. It's kind of stacked. I mean, Cowboys, they're
Yeah.
dangerous,
Eagles.
and then also, of course, the Eagles are dangerous
Eagles,
too.
yeah.
Commanders.
And don't even forget about the Commanders.
KD5.
Yeah, no.
KD5,
That division is tough, man. It's real tough. And man, there was something that you said. Oh, Cam Scattaboo, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think that Cam, and Jackson, if they both want to play 10 years, they need to play smarter. because first of all, Cam didn't survive the season. Jackson barely survived the season. He was in the tent like every game. You made the Josh Allen comparison. Unfortunately, he's not built like Josh Allen.
Right.
He can't take a hit like Josh Allen. So he needs to play smarter. Now, me personally, I don't have any skin in the New York Giants football futures or how they perform. I don't really care. But if I could pull him aside and be like, yo, dude, get out of bounds. Like, go watch some Peyton Manning. Learn how to do some of that stuff. Because you're not built like Josh Allen. Like, one of these hits is going to put you down for like 3, 4, 5, or 6 weeks at some point. I mean, did he miss a game or two because of a concussion already?
Yeah.
Didn't
Yes.
Jackson did? Yeah. So, I mean, he was only a rookie. I saw him get his head knocked off way too many times. And same with Cam. Cam needs to play smarter. He's not, yes, he's a tough, hard runner, but he's not, he's not Derrick Henry. He's not built like Derrick Henry. You know what I mean? So he's got to be smart. Yeah, anyway. You didn't ask me that, but I gave it to you anyway.
You bring up the Jackson Dart thing. I think of him as the Monday night game last year I'm watching against the Patriots, and he's run on the sideline, and instead of just getting out of bounds, goes for 1 to 2 more yards and gets absolutely clocked. It's like, that's not smart, especially as a rookie quarterback. You want to see these guys, like you say, have long careers, remember who they are at 60. It's like, that's just not the way to go. And that unfortunately kind of appeals to, I don't want to say the neutral, but it does. They want to see big hits. They want to see guys get laid out, and just that's not the way football should be played. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I think about the longevity of the player always as a former player. You know what I mean? And I hope that people on this pod that are listening, you know what I'm saying? I hope they take away, if they take away anything from me, it's that I genuinely care about the longevity and the health of the athlete. Like, if your kids, if you don't remember who your kids are or who your parents are or who your siblings are, like, what are we doing? Yes, like, you might make generational money, but most guys don't make generational money. Only a few guys make generational money. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of guys make good money and they can live a nice life, and their kids can go to private school and they can have a nice car and a nice house for sure. But this isn't the NBA. This isn't Major League Baseball. Like, this is the NFL, right? There's 53 guys on a roster. There's 15 guys on a practice squad. And go look at the minimum salaries of those leagues and then look at the minimum salaries of the NFL. It's not the same thing. And the prices we pay for the physicality of the game, man, I got teammates with hip replacements, knee replacements already. I've had teammates that are no longer on this planet. I've had teammates that have committed suicide. You know what I'm saying? Like, straight up. It's not to be played with. And that's why I will fucking fall on my sword for anybody that puts their entertainment and the violence ahead of, like, understanding, like, why I will be 10 toes down, chest out on this matter, because it's so serious. And yes, I get it. We sign up for some of it. But I want guys to come out healthy. That goes for Jackson. That goes for Cam. That goes for any player on. And I hate the Bengals, but it goes for them too.
Man, that's a great
I had to throw that in there. I hate the Bengals.
That's a really great message, Femi. We appreciate that.
Thank you, man.
And we're just about at the end here. We still have about 200 people watching live. Thank y'all so much for coming through to this episode of the Purple Rain podcast. Let's go ahead and clap it up again for our guy Femi Ayanbadejo. Thank you so much, brother, for coming through. Hopefully this isn't the last time that you'll come on the pod. Hopefully, you'll come back in the future. We'll be in talks. We'll be in talks.
Reach out to me for sure.
Sounds good. And one more thing, actually, any other sports you're looking forward to? We still got 3 months till football. I mean, you got NBA Finals on right now. World Cup's about to be here in a week. Anything else you're looking forward to? UFC, White House? Anything you're looking forward to?
Yeah. So, man, I was watching New York and San Antonio. Like, I thought OKC was gonna run it back and win the whole thing, and then I was watching the Knicks and what they were doing, and I said, you know what? If San Antonio gets in, I think the Knicks in 6. That's what I got. I got the Knicks in 6. And when Brunson went down with that knee, I was like, oh no. But man, my man Alvarado came off the bench and he did some work while he was trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? And I just think the Knicks, man, I'm just really impressed with them as a team. Like, they really came together. The way they're playing as a group reminds me of my 2000 team.
Salute Femi.
You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Coach. Safety Tally.
Yep. And so I'm taking the Knicks. Yes, in UFC Freedom 250. I'm a big UFC fan. Truth be told, I wish they stayed out of the politics altogether, but that's what they've chosen to do. It's kind of ruined it a little bit for me, but like Diego Sanchez was my homie. Keith Jardine is a homie of mine, like the old school guys. I love Izzy. I love John Jones. R.I.P. Arthur Jones.
Fire
Me and Arthur
collab,
were
great
friends.
Podcast. Fire emoji. Fire emoji. Fire
Thank you.
emoji. Fire
Yep.
emoji.
And so I got to meet John a couple times. I know a lot of the old school guys. And when I say old school, like not the old school guys, but the guys that were in the era kind of like before this era. Like I feel like MMA fighters in the UFC, they're some of the most skilled dudes on the planet. You know what I'm saying? I'm a big Dustin Poirier fan. I hope Dustin comes back and has another fight. Connor's is supposed to be fighting again. I think he's a clown. He's a clown, but I want to see him fight. Yeah. I hope John fights again. You know, I do. So yeah, I'm looking forward to UFC Freedom 250. I'll probably end up watching UFC Fight Night this weekend as well. And then I'm definitely a World Cup fan. My father is from Lagos, Nigeria, so I'm always. And honestly, did Nigeria make it? I think they did.
They didn't.
Nigeria didn't qualify. Oh no. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, I saw USA play Senegal the other night. That was pretty good match. But yeah, I'll be cheering for USA all the way, man. Like I love anything international, and the World Cup is awesome. And then I guess we'll be on to football, right? So there we go. Yeah. And I'm a big baseball fan. I grew up playing baseball, played college baseball too, high school football, baseball, basketball. But the Giants, I grew up in Northern California, so the Giants are my team. We're terrible right now. It sucks. But yeah, that's pretty much what's up. Oh, and one more thing. Will you guys please, I've been working super hard to build my Twitter profile. Like my Instagram profile is pretty solid. But if y'all want to follow me on Instagram, ObaFemi30. But X, please, I'm really trying to. I think I had 100 followers like 2 months ago. Like for real, I think I had 100 followers because I never used it. Literally never used it. But now I'm like obsessed with it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm literally in there. Yeah, because and look, it's fun. X is fun because I didn't realize like how awesome the interaction was on X. And there's always going to be like 20% of the trolls that are just assholes, right? Like some of the ways that some of these dudes talk to me, I'd be like, bro, you're definitely in your mom's basement. If I was in person, you definitely wouldn't be saying any of that. I promise you. You know what I'm saying? Like people talk crazy on X, bro. Like for real. Like it tripped me out kind of. I was like, did you look at my profile, dude? Like I do this shit for a living. Like I know what I'm talking about. I got an MBA from Johns Hopkins. Like I'm a smart person. Like I'm not just making stuff up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's crazy, dude. These dudes talk to me like I'm a kid, like I'm their son or something. They're like, dude's like 25 talking like I'm his 5-year-old son. I'm like, bro, have you lost your fucking mind? Anyway, sorry. I don't know about sorry. I cuss for emphasis. I apologize, guys. I don't know if that
you're good.
You guys got
no,
okay, cool.
Good.
All right. Sometimes on some podcasts I'm like, hey, if you don't want me to cuss, you gotta tell me in advance. But I start getting animated, and before you know it, all the F-bombs come out. But
all good over here.
Yeah, cool. So I'd love to come back on the show. Y'all guys got me hyped right now, and I'm about to go lift real quick now. I have to lift now. Yeah, man, I was in Virginia all day, like doing some work. So now I got back late. My girl's at the house, like, what are we doing for dinner? I'm like, honey, you got to eat on your own. I got to lift. I got to do this podcast. I'm gonna be home late.
What's today's lift?
Oh, so today's gonna be core, core, legs. I'll do some kettlebell stuff, and probably a little quick by try, with some core. Yeah. So
nice. Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Get that working. But thank you so much, Femi, for coming through. One more round of applause. Clap it up for him. W's in the chat for our guy Femi. We got to have him back on the show. Maybe sometime closer to the season, or maybe even when the season starts. We'll definitely be in talks. And the whole UFC thing intrigues me too. I want to talk to you more about that too.
Oh no, hey, listen. We can talk about anything. I don't get offended. I have opinions that are informed on a lot of stuff, and if I don't know, bro, I'll just be like, hey, you know what? Like, let me go study that. I don't know enough to comment on that, but I like to be up to date with pop culture, politics. Man, I'm deep in trading and AI stocks and the data center stuff and semiconductors and the whole AI build out. Like I'm deep in all that stuff. So yeah, anything you guys want to talk about, it's all fair game.
Sounds good. Well, appreciate you again so much for coming through.
Thank you.
This has been episode 412 of PRP. We're gonna catch you guys in the next one. Peace.